and ask Stacy to do roll.
Councilmember McGarvey.
Here. Here.
Councilmember Budge.
Oh, you want me to order?
I will go back to Councilmember Budge. Councilmember Terry.
Here.
Mayor Sander is absent and will be joining us momentarily. Vice Mayor Gatewood.
Here.
And Councilmember Linda Budge is trying to join us, will join us in just a moment. And
There she is.
Here.
thank you so much.
Stacy, can you please announce the video recording and playback schedule?
Yes, I can. The meeting of the Rancho Cordova City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel on the Comcast Consolidated Communications and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at www.sacmetrocable.tv. Today's meeting will air on Thursday, November 19th at 9 a.m. and Tuesday, November 24th at 7 p.m. A DVD copy is available for checkout from any library branch. A copy can also be ordered from the City Clerk's Department, and a webcast of this meeting will also be available on the city's website within 48 hours of adjournment of this meeting.
Cyrus, can you do the Pledge of Allegiance and invite the audience to stand during, if they're at City Hall? Or Linda, can you put up your little flag?
Yes, please rise.
Perfect.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands
Republic,
one nation under
God,
God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for
with
all.
liberty and justice. Thank you. All right. Let me call on Travis Kimball from the Church of Latter-day Saints and the Rancho Cordova Religious Council to do the invocation.
I don't see Travis in the room, and I don't see his name in Zoom, and I don't see that he has called in. So Travis, if you are in Zoom or by phone, if you can raise your hand so that I can identify you. And if not, Vice Mayor Gatewood will do an alternative.
I got this one. Yep, I got this one if he's not there. No one there? No one? Going once? Going twice? All right. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us here today. For all these decision makers, please bless us. Please give us grace and strength. Please help to guide us in whatever decisions we need made. Please come alongside us. In your name we pray. All right, presentations. I'm going to kick this off to Maria. Maria? Oh, she's here. There she is.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Maria Chacon-Newstead, Communications and Public Affairs Director for the City of Rancho Cordova. Tonight, we're pleased to honor our school educators and staff for their extra dedication and efforts to ensure that the youth of Rancho Cordova continue to learn and grow despite the challenges of the COVID-19 global pandemic. Councilmember Terry will soon describe a proclamation that we're going to be presenting to our three school districts, declaring this week to be Rancho Cordova Love Our Schools Week. School staff in Rancho Cordova will see billboards thanking them, social media posts honoring them, and we have a web page that is dedicated to them. We're encouraging residents, especially those with students, to go to cityofranchocordova.org/loveourschools and download a free thank you note that they can color and give to someone at their school, thanking them for doing a great job. Tonight, we have representatives from our school districts joining us via Zoom to accept the proclamations. From Folsom Cordova Unified School District, we have Dr. Sarah Collegian, who's the superintendent. We have Ed Short, who's a school board member, and Angela Griffin-Ann Kelly, who's the Communication and Community Engagement Director. From Elk Grove Unified School District, we have Janet Anderson, who's the Director of Pre-K through 6. Michael Goulden, who is the principal of McGarvey Elementary School, Marty Hawk, principal of Sunrise Elementary, and Bindi Gruel, who's the assistant superintendent for the elementary division. And from Sacramento City Unified School District, we have Dr. Jorge Aguilar, who is the superintendent, Christina Pritchard, who is the school board member. Now I'd like to turn this over to Councilmember Terry to present the proclamations.
Thank you. As the former school board member on this council, and the guy who is also on all of our 2x2s, so I get to meet with these folks on a regular basis, and on a much more regular basis these days with all of the fun that we're all having during this pandemic. So I want to thank, first off, all of our superintendents, Dr. Aguilar, Chris Hoffman, I believe Dr. Collegian as well, for all of your hard work and partnership over the years. And so, yeah, I think this may be one of the first times we've done this as far as I can remember. So it's really exciting. So I turned off my background so you can all see the proclamation that I was able to print. I'm assuming that either somebody has delivered these in person or will be in the very near future. And this is a shorter one, so I'll read most of it, but it starts off with, whereas the education of our youth is imperative to our neighborhoods, our city, our state, and our nation, schools are integral to our local community and economy, and quality schools are the one reason residents choose to call Rancho Cordova home. And this year we faced a lot of unprecedented times in our community and in our schools due to a global pandemic. Educators, school staff demonstrated tremendous dedication to ensuring that learning continues despite these challenges. And the city of Rancho Cordova recognizes and appreciates the outstanding hard work and dedication of all our educators, school, and school staff. And so we declared this week the week of Love Your Schools, and hopefully people will follow Maria's directions and go to our website and share more of their thoughts and comments about it. But I just want to say that, since March, the amount of uncertainty that has been there and continues to be there, and I know we have one school district that has already opened and has brought their youngest children back to our schools, and we're really excited about that. For those that haven't, the tremendous efforts that have been made to ensure that there's technology and access to technology and access to their teachers, even at home. And, I want to say that Chris Hoffman, the superintendent of Elk Grove, said something to me that really stuck with me, that last spring, the amount of retraining that had to happen with our teachers in our school districts was relatively what they would have tried to accomplish in a 5-year period, and they did it in 3 months. And so the amount of the evolution that's happened in schools in accommodating what's going on has been tremendous. And so we at the city just want to thank you for all of your hard work and your continued dedication as we continue to survive and try to thrive during this pandemic. So with that, I don't know if I'm handing it off to some guest speakers. Stacy?
At this point, we want to find out, is there any speakers from the school that would like to talk?
Right.
This is Sarah Collegian. I would love to say thank you. May I turn on my camera?
Go ahead.
Well, on behalf of Folsom Cordova Unified School District, I would like to thank our city council members and the city of Rancho Cordova for your very gracious and generous proclamation to our district, to our employees in Rancho Cordova. This includes our certificated, our classified, and our management employees. Truly, this has been the last 8 months have been unprecedented in many ways, but we've seen this resourcefulness and perseverance and resilience and nimbleness that we've all had to adapt to continue to provide our students with the best education amongst the conditions that we're currently in. And having our city come together alongside with our faith-based partners, church, as well as our community, to thank our employees, to love our employees during this week, really shows that uplifting thoughts of appreciation that really goes so far, especially, amidst all the challenges that our employees are faced with. So we truly appreciate the collaboration, the partnership, the teamwork with our districts and supporting us. And on behalf of Folsom Cordova, we thank you for this wonderful proclamation and the ways that you're acknowledging our employees.
Thank you, Sarah. I see a lot of other faces there. I'm not sure who else would like to speak, but
Chris, do you want to speak?
Christina.
Chris.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm here. Chris Clark, President, Folsom Cordova Unified School District Board of Education. I just want to thank the city for recognizing our teachers and our employees in the district. I know during this pandemic, they've worked really hard and basically over the summer as well, preparing for our distance learning for our students. And I know that our elementary school kids are back in school, albeit part-time. We still have them in. We still are able to give them their lesson plans with the synchronous and asynchronous learning. Just wanted to echo what the superintendent said, and we appreciate the partnership that we have with the city. We look forward to a robust partnership in years to come. So thank you for the recognition. On behalf of the board, I just greatly appreciate everything that you've done for us.
I think I see Board Member Pritchett as well from Sac City Unified.
Yes, thank you, and thank you for having us tonight. I just want to say thank you to the city for the relationship that we have with you all. It's very helpful. And I got to say, we love our schools too, and they have pivoted very well during this pandemic. I know it's been a hard time for all of them. So on behalf of Sacramento City Unified School District, thank you for recognizing our true heroes that are running our schools every day.
Thank you. And I'm pretty sure I saw Mr. Golden and Mr. Hawk in there. There's Mr. Golden turned on his camera.
Good evening, everyone. It's really hard to capitalize on what everybody else has already said. But Rancho Cordova's Love Our Schools Week really is emblematic of all of the support and partnership we've enjoyed for all the years I've been at Robert J. McGarvey Elementary School. So on behalf of Elk Grove Unified School District, Mr. Hawk, who's with us, Mrs. Anderson, who's with us, and Dr. Graywall, who's with us, I want to thank you for recognizing all of our employees for all of the work that they've done during the pandemic and before, and all of the work that they will continue to do to support the boys and girls in our community and one another. And just to thank you for the amazing relationship that we've had, your partnership, support, our collaboration. It's amazing. And 42 elementary schools in Elk Grove Unified School District, and Mr. Hawk and I are blessed to be here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You got anyone else?
Mr. Vice Mayor, if I may.
I think that was all three in one way. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Vice Mayor, if I may just make a few comments here that I would also like to echo the level of partnership and collaboration that we've been able to develop with all of our school districts. And during this time of COVID, we've been able to come together on a more frequent basis, working on issues facing our teachers, facing our students, facing our schools. And I'm very proud of this relationship and the partnership that we've had. And we hope to continue that in a very different world after COVID and do greater things. So thank you to all of our three school districts for their high level of collaboration with the city of Rancho Cordova and the partnership.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We really appreciate you. All right.
Well, let's put this on the calendar for next year. This was fun, and hopefully by next year we're all at City Hall.
Yes, around
Praying
people.
for that day. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
All right. 9.2, we're going to wait, and we're going to move down to 10, which is public comment.
Vice Mayor Gatewood, I have one additional person who would like to speak who is a board member.
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Oh, did we? Okay.
Go ahead.
I just moved him over. Ed?
Oh, is that short?
Oh,
All
okay.
right.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Ed, you're muted in case you're trying to talk right now.
F2, shift 7.
Oh, there we go.
Gotcha.
There,
Okay.
Sam.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm old school. I'm still learning all this stuff, so I apologize.
That's okay.
I just want to thank all. I mean, the city is awesome, and I really do appreciate the partnership. I can't really add more than all the other board members, but I do really appreciate the recognition, especially now, for all of our staff. It's just doing all the work they're doing. It's unbelievable. The teachers, the admin, under these hard times and these conditions, it's unbelievable. And this is the time to really love our schools and love everybody, because what the bottom line is, what it does for our kids. And we're going to get through these hard times. And I think together that we're doing right now as a community, we're going to get through it. And I just can't say anymore how appreciative we are. And thank you so much for the recognition. That's all I have to say.
Thanks, Ed.
Yeah.
All right, moving back to it. Citizens wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time by completing and submitting a speaker card to the city clerk. For items on the agenda, speaker will be called up to the podium by me. At that point, the agenda when the item is heard. Speakers are encouraged to keep their comments to 3 minutes or less, please, as the state and the community residents and state the community and residents of where you live in Rancho under provision of California government code. The city of Rancho is prohibited from discussing or taking immediate action on items not on the agenda unless it be demonstrated as an emergency nature. All right. Stacy, how many of these do we have?
We have 5 at this time. So members of the public who
All right.
are wishing to address the council may do so in person in the council chambers, which we have a few in the council chambers at this time. They can also submit public comment via email to the city clerk's office, in this particular case before 2 p.m. today, which some have for items on the agenda. And then we will also be taking public comment via Zoom and through telephone. There's instructions that are located on the agenda to be able to do that. And you just use the little hand feature and raise your hand, and I will call on you. First, we're going to take those individuals who are in the room, starting with Mark Berry. Following Mark, we will move to Andranik. Sorry if is that close enough? Okay, good, thank you. And then our tech, and then Helen. So, Mark, thank you. Each person will have 3 minutes. And there is a clock at the podium.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your time, council members and staff, of course, and city manager Cyrus. Thank you. I think I'm here. Typically, I talk about the Cassis property. I'm well aware it's not the only issue for the council, but for us in our neighborhood, it's become very pressing. I think from the beginning, months ago, we talked about the historical and geological, hydrological concerns we had with the property. Basically, our concerns have been, the developer made a presentation to us. We thought a lot of information was missing about what was involved in the property and try to bring that forward. We had anticipated in a very short time some sort of environmental report, which we had even a shorter time to respond to. I think it's 30 days. So we were concerned about that. And, various people in the neighborhood have made inquiries of the developer, and his position has been, well, you know, we're really not changing anything, that whatever the city tells us to do, that's what we're going to do. And then inquiries are made of the city about, you know, what's on the property, what studies have really been done, you know, whether it's archaeological or geological, and you know, there's not much in there. I mean, we take a look and we see what's online, but there seems to be some information missing. And I've asked questions that I think are really basic to my community in East Tiffany Lane, which is just upstream of the development. And as you know, the development is going to, the intention is to push the upper plateau, you know, into the lower basin and raise the lower basin up to about 10 feet, which is higher than we were originally told anyway, basically changing the whole floodplain of the area just downstream of East Tiffany Lane, causing all that land to be higher than East Tiffany Lane. But we've asked basic questions about, you know, what is the flood elevation, the height is the basis of design. We've asked for what the soils reports would be, the hydrological reports, you know, even basics like what is the existing site elevation, what markers have been taken, you know, along the edge of the river bluff, within the boundaries itself. I've made questions of this and I've either been told to wait or or I just don't get an answer. So my request is we're going to have a very short time to review this very important issue, and if we could get that information sooner rather than later, it's important to those of us who would be dramatically impacted by this development to have that information. Thank you very much.
The next speaker is Andrenic.
Can I ask the city attorney a question regarding what we just heard? One, I'll just say that I'm confused as to why anybody thinks that like a decision is imminent in this process and that you wouldn't have enough time to get that answer. Adam, is anything that he just asked for something that I mean, that's all going to be discoverable. That would all be things that would be made public. Is there anything in there that sounds like something that would be proprietary to the developer?
I would just say in general, just the status of the project is that it's underway and it's being analyzed, but that there have not been any final documents produced for CEQA or otherwise. So okay. The community doesn't have final documents because we haven't produced any.
Okay.
There's still active collaboration and communication with both the developer and also members of the community at all okay. levels of staff, and including the city manager and myself, meeting with both the developers' representatives and also with interested members of the community. And staff is producing a lot of studies and closely considering input from both the developers and the neighborhood about the project. I think recognizing that it clearly has its strong supporters and its detractors or concerned citizens. So we expect it to take at least a couple more months, and we have not made a final decision as to what our recommendation will be on the CEQA document, or even on some of these key issues that he and other members of the community have discussed.
Okay.
City manager, would you supplement that, or is that a pretty complete answer from your perspective?
Apologize. Yeah, I think this is accurate. The project is still in development phase, so I think that to the extent that the information is available and we can provide that information, we could, but no documents have been completed yet.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Andrenic. You're welcome. You'll have 3 minutes.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrenic Poladian, and on October 26th, I sent a letter addressed to the City Council asking you to pass a resolution in recognizing the independence of the Republic of Artsakh, and I hope you have had a chance to read the letter. The war that started on September 27th against Artsakh and Armenia is now over for the foreseeable future. But the fight for recognition of Artsakh's independence is not over. The threat to their existence is very much real. The citizens of Artsakh are continuing to face a humanitarian crisis. After experiencing daily bombardment during the 45-day war, those who have not fled earlier are now forced from their homes, as their cities are now under the control of the Republic of Azerbaijan. Large areas of Artsakh's territory have been lost that include historical sites, which Armenians fear will be destroyed by Azerbaijan. Many lives have been lost and even more uprooted because of the ambition of Azerbaijan's dictator. Azerbaijan has perpetrated war crimes against the Armenians of Artsakh, which have been documented by many human rights groups. These wrongs against the Armenians of Artsakh are reminiscent of offenses perpetrated against the Armenians of the Ottoman Empire during the Armenian genocide over 100 years ago. These injustices are the very reason why it is important to recognize the self-determination of the citizens of Artsakh. This recognition will be one step closer to help guarantee their safety and the rebuilding of their country. They share the same values and the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I would like to point out that your Armenian American constituents support this cause, and they hold these same views as myself and my associates joining me here today. Also, many of your constituents are directly from Artsakh, including veterans of the 1988 to 1994 Artsakh War. There is not one Armenian here in Rancho Cordova and throughout the Sacramento region that has not been directly affected by this 45-day war, as many have relatives who have participated in the defense of their homeland and have had losses. On behalf of your Armenian American constituents, I urge you to stand on the right side of history and pass a resolution in the recognition of a nation that is fighting to survive. I can assure you, you will be on the right side of history. I welcome the opportunity to work with you, and I highly appreciate your time for freedom, justice, and lasting peace. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Artak.
Thank you for your time, dear council members. And the mayor, once he gets a chance to view the video, and the vice mayor, and you, Stacy. My name is Artak Tovmasyan. On October 25th, I sent an email to the city council members, the mayor and the vice mayor, providing 191 petitions for a proclamation of recognition of Artsakh's independence and the denouncement of the war that was going on for 45 days. After getting in contact with you, Stacy, I dropped off the original signed copies on October 29th to the City Hall. I hope that you've all had a chance to review the petitions by 191 members of our community, not just Armenians, but very well prominent fellow citizens from all over Rancho Cordova. I'd like to point out that those petitions are just a small fraction of the people who support the recognition of Artsakh and its independence. I'd like to emphasize that Rancho Cordova is a home to the largest Armenian American community here in Sacramento region. Actually, to a matter of fact, it was considered among the top 10 within the United States, if you consider the population of the city. The Armenians here have built a foundation for their families by establishing churches, businesses, from bakeries, grocery stores, auto parts shops, car dealerships, and there are also many professionals here that contribute to the city and are lawyers, doctors, nurses, accountants, architects, engineers, teachers, law enforcement officers. And one of the Folsom Cordova Unified School District members I heard earlier was an Armenian too. As Andranik pointed out, Armenians have been affected. Every single Armenian family has been affected within those 45 days, and have had a family member who has been either lost, injured, wounded, or killed, brutally murdered. Andranik has more documents regarding the atrocities that have been committed against not only our people, but also to our churches and architectural monuments. So we collectively ask you to do the right thing and recognize the independence of Artsakh and throughout, who has been trying to survive, as he pointed out, throughout history. I welcome the opportunity to further work with you and appreciate your time for freedom, justice, and lasting peace. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Helen Whalen Bashaw.
I am Helen Whalen Bashaw. I live at 2600 Terra Grande. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. First off, I'd like to recognize that Rancho Cordova has on their website about the toy drive. This year, it's very critical that people donate toys. The motorcycling community used to have a major toy runs. They're not going to be allowed this year because of the sheer size. So there's going to be a desperate need for toys. So I do want to appreciate Rancho for sending out the flyer about the toys. Another thing I'd like to say, I'd like to recognize Rancho for recognizing the teachers for all the hard work that they do in the community. It's been really rough on them because I have teachers living near me dealing with what COVID has brought to their teaching abilities and their length of time that they spend with their students. In that, I'd like to talk to Rancho about something I found out. There are two historical trails that come through Rancho Cordova. One is the California Trail, for those of you who do not know that. That started in Missouri and came across the country, and it's the Immigrant Trail. It runs right through Rancho Cordova. And also, we have the Pony Express Trail. Both trails run in the same location in Rancho Cordova. It sits on a 30-foot easement that was dedicated to the people. It's a bicycling, horseback riding, and hiking easement that soon might be done away with. But I believe for educational purposes, our children have a right to walk across the grounds where these two historical trails have gone. In addition, they need to absorb the heritage in that community, in that area, where we have a 3,000 or 3,500-year-old traveler that passed, where we have the remains of 6 Native Americans. So for that, the National Association has agreed to send me signs. All we need is approval, and all we need is the right of the community to have that easement dedicated to those two trails. Thank you for your time.
This is all the public comment that I have in the room. The next public comment that I have was sent via email. All council and staff, city attorney's office, and the city manager's office has received this. There's also printed copies in the back of the room for anybody who is interested. The topic is related to the Cassis property, and Virginia Volk Anderson expresses her concern. Next, I'd like to invite anyone who wants to participate via Zoom or telephone for public comment to raise their hand at this time if you have something that you would like to share. Diane Rogers. Diane, you'll have 3 minutes to speak, and you should be able to speak now. Diane Rogers, are you there?
My apologies. I got booted out as you were introducing me and managed to get back in. So again, thank you very much. Members of the council and mayor, I'm Diane Rogers and serve as the president and CEO of the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce. I come before you today to make you aware of an urgent matter that's coming before tomorrow's Board of Supervisors. They are considering an urgency ordinance that will levy fines against the business community if they are found to be in violation of some of the ordinance regarding protecting us from COVID. Now, there's no question that protecting us against the spread of COVID is absolutely critical, but this particular ordinance is particularly heinous towards the business community. For example, the penalty for any non-commercial violations is $5. The civil penalty involving commercial activities is not to exceed $10,000. And also, for violations arising from commercial activities where they're likely to result in increased revenue, it's very, very nebulous and difficult to assess. We sent a letter in expressing our opposition to this ordinance, and I just wanted to make you aware of it. If you do feel the same way, if you would be willing to share your personal opposition with our member of our Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Natoli. It's become very apparent through our own Director of Health and with the county, they have very strongly indicated that the primary spread of the COVID-19 is not through small business, but mostly through gatherings, public gatherings, personal gatherings, and nursing homes. And if you take those numbers out of the equation, business has very little impact on that. So to broadly sweep in business, small business into this issue is unreasonable and unfair to our business community. And this is not the way to solve this problem. Business owners are families, parents, they have children in the schools, they have employees that they care dearly about. They take this matter very, very seriously and want to do whatever they can to slow the spread of this. But to place these kinds of financial penalties on business, consider this to be unreasonable. And given the urgency of this matter that we just became aware of it this afternoon, I wanted to take this moment to share this with you and let you know that it's taking place tomorrow. So happy to answer any questions, but that's what
Diane, so you want us to reach out to Donatoli and tell him we're against this measure? Is that what it is?
Yes, that would be. I did send a copy of our letter opposing this to Stacy. It's item number 45 on tomorrow's agenda. And again, this came up late this afternoon, so we couldn't do much more than this. So okay. I can have to send it to you individually if you like.
So is really quick? So and I apologize because I want to make sure. So the Sacramento County is trying to increase ordinance of businesses to stay open and punish them. Is that what's going on, basically?
What they want to do is enact an urgency ordinance that would allow them to impose fiscal fines, financial fines on businesses if they're found to be in violation. It's a 22-page document, but that's the gist of it.
Okay.
Is there anyone else via Zoom or telephone or in the room that would like to speak under public comment?
No, but now that David's here, we should go back to item 9.2. And, it's so good. So good. Thank you, Mayor, for showing up. I'd like to acknowledge that it's special.
Did you just see what that is?
I totally missed it.
So this is going to be
rough. I totally missed that on the agenda. I never saw it.
I made sure that Garrett knew to continue that and come back to that item.
Yeah, here we go. This is going to be good. All right.
Oh, no.
So we have a birthday. Someone's turning 27 on November 20, 2020. So I'm going to just start it off with the song. And Donald, please don't sing but mouth. And Linda, we need your voice because you can actually sing.
Let me just mute myself.
Together. Yeah, please. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Happy birthday to you. And like with me, the cake is
anymore.
on the way.
All right, that's enough. You can stop. That's good.
Yeah. All right, I'm good.
Thank you all.
Not bad in the system.
That was yeah. That was something.
It was, wasn't it?
That was really something.
That was yes.
It's all so much better by Zoom too, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let's see here. So I assume we just finished public comment, item 10.
Yes.
So we are going to move on to council reports. Am I correct in where we are here?
Yes.
All right, very good.
Yep.
In that case, council reports, and first up will be Councilman McGarvey.
Well, I wanted to say how proud we are of the teachers, of all the school districts that we have. And we were here earlier, talked to the principals, talked to the superintendents, and I'm just so glad that they were able to provide the education that they have been doing. And as you said, it was about a 5-year program they did in 3 months, just to show them how they need to teach the kids online and in the computer, and it's very hard. And as most of you know, we have 3 of the students, a kindergartner and a 6th grader and an 8th grader, that are coming to the 2nd McGarvey Elementary School every day. And the principal from the Robert J. McGarvey Elementary was here speaking also. But I want to say thank you to all of them for everything they're doing. They're doing a wonderful job. It's hard to keep up with the kids that you can see on the screen, and that's all you see is the screen. My granddaughter has gone back to school, actually gone to the school. So that's making things great for her. She's learning some things that just at the beginning that she was trying to learn there through the computer. 2 other things. Tomorrow we'll have the Mosquito Vector Control Board, so I'll let you know what goes on with that, and then the Sanitation District on Wednesday. And the 18th is 3 birthdays also. That's my wife's birthday, and Mickey Mouse's birthday, and Minnie Mouse's birthday, all on the same day. So, but other than that, I think that's pretty much what I've got. My son and his wife and their 5 kids were here earlier, just watching to see what was going on here at this meeting. So it was nice to see them, and so we'll be seeing what we can do as far as providing more for the teachers and helping them and supporting them in the school districts, because it's hard, and they're doing a great job. And that's what I've got.
All right. Thank you very much, Bob. Next up, Councilwoman Linda Budge.
Thank you, David. I can say that the absolute only thing that I have to report this time is that my mother had a very successful 99th birthday in Tucson. She got, and thank you to everybody here, Stacy, who sent her cards. And it was really terrific. She got cards and flowers and balloons, and it was only her and myself and my sister, and we had a great time. And I also think it's important that we adjourn tonight in memory of the Vice Mayor of Folsom, Ernie Sheldon, who passed away last week, and he will be missed. I talked to the mayor about it, and the mayor, bless her heart, is not well, but she's experiencing what at this point is a mild case of the virus. So we wish her the best also. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Linda. Next up, Councilman Donald Terry.
Thanks. I think as far as 2x2s, we have the Pulse Cordova one. It's been shared by Bob and other folks that Pulse Cordova did in fact go back to school. I want to say, David, was our meeting on Friday, or was it on the day of them going back? I believe it was the following day. So they went back on a Thursday, and then we met on a Friday. And so we were of the logistics and how they were doing it. And I think they've got a great plan, and hopefully this continues to go the way it goes. I think the important takeaway that I had from that meeting was the fact that the county has backslid into the purple tier, which could end up delaying additional openings. But if you had your planned opening day approved already, they're still moving forward with those, as far as I understood. I probably want to clarify that with Elk Grove and Sac City Unified. But just because the county backslid into purple does not mean that schools are going to close. And they did explain that really now the triggers within the school sites, and David, you can correct me if I'm wrong if you heard anything different, but the understanding is if there becomes a positivity rate of above 5% within the entire population, including staff, so this is staff and children on campus, that they could be looking at having to go back to distance learning for a certain period of time. So hopefully that doesn't happen. I know in a lot of the private schools in this region, they've been navigating these waters for months now without any real, as far as I know, I haven't read of a story yet where they've been seeing instances within the classroom. So, knock on wood, hopefully we're moving forward in that space while a lot of other painful decisions are going to have to be made. And, in light of what Diane said, the county's struggling with, what other tools and resources they need in order to combat this. I think one nice thing would have been $120 million worth of CARES Act funding that they papered over their budget with, and we obviously all sent a resolution to that effect. But if that money had been used for proper testing and ramping up for what we knew was coming, which is what's happening right now in the last couple of weeks, I wonder what could have been done differently in this county, and where we would have been with that additional funding and focus. So, again, like we said, thank you to all of our educators for all of the hard work that you've been doing in coming up with the plans, implementing the plans, and getting our kids back to some semblance of normalcy. And I think that's pretty much it for me. Air District it meets later meets in January. We won't meet again until January. One last thing, November 1st, now that we're done with hopefully the wildfire season for the rest of the year, now that we've had some rain, starting November 1st is our check before you burn time. So from now until I believe April 1st, if you're going to burn wood or burn anything other than a gas fireplace, please check the website and make sure. Again, we just pretty much ended the wildfire season, and I can tell you there have been some hazy days in the last couple of days, and it's not just clouds. It's fireplaces and a lot of other things that are contributing to dirty air. That's it for me.
Very good. Next up, we've got Councilman and Vice Mayor Garrett Gatewood.
I like the way you said it, too. I feel like I should run in and say, yeah!
I've been doing a sports thing all weekend. I can't help myself.
Right. It's awesome. I'd just like to give an amen to what Donald said. What would we have done with $120 million? But that being said, the SBA board, they are officially, the guy that was running is officially gone. We've hired a lady we've offered someone the job right now. As soon as I get she's going to take it, I'll give you guys the motion, but she's way overqualified, and they hired someone from the private sector. So it's a new twist on SBA. They bring someone in private sector because one of her big things was she wanted to bring in private-public partnerships, which kind of twisted everybody in a bad and a good way. So it'll be interesting to see the change that's going to come. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting changes over the next couple months due to COVID, and then COVID going away due to the vaccine and that kind of thing. So, and that's all I got. Thank you to all the teachers. My family's been teachers for generations.
Very good. Yeah, my mom's also a teacher, so I'm sorry I missed that part of our agenda, but certainly a heartfelt thank you for everything they're doing right now. Let's see. Since our last meeting, we have had a State of the City event, which I think was pretty cool, if I say so myself. that was a fun video to put together. We've had a lot of viewership, a lot of fun. No one was hurt during the filming, which was great because, we were doing some dangerous things there. The sizzle of the burger on the grill, for example, that was pretty exciting when we did that. I had to do a little bit of food delivery in a couple of different ways in a restaurant and at a Great Plates delivery. But I would encourage all of us to think about, Garrett, you next year doing State of the City, we might have the option to do something normal or something a little more video based like this. And our partners in the film office did just an outstanding job, as well as Diane and Shelley in coordinating this from the Chamber of Commerce and the Cordova Community Council in particular. And of course, our own staff led by Maria, our communication staff, I think did a great job putting that together. So I got a ton of positive comments about it. I hope you guys enjoyed that as well.
David, can we ask, we assume it's on our website now?
I don't know that I've seen it on the city website, but I haven't looked for it. So we could verify that quickly.
It's on YouTube as well. I mean, you can just search on
yes, it
It is on YouTube, I know.
Yes, it is, Mr.
Okay.
Cyrus says it is on there. Okay.
Okay, that's
good.
the day I was traveling, so I do want to catch it. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, please.
Yeah.
It's not super long, but it's pretty fun.
Good, good.
And there's even a blooper moment or blooper moments at the end. And believe it or not, the one with me involves a fly on my face.
Not on your hair?
You can't make this stuff up. All right. So that was the State of the City. I just want to congratulate everybody involved. I think that was a lot of fun. And I think it accomplished the mission that we set out for that event for the city. I attended a bunch of meetings. Donald summarized School District 1 well. SACOG had a Transportation Committee meeting without a whole lot on the agenda. I am attending a bunch of sessions at the National Leagues of Cities, which is going on. That meeting is going on right now. We were supposed to be in Tampa, but instead we're all where we are and virtually at the meeting, which is interesting because you can attend any session anytime you want after they've posted it. I have had a few in-person meetings, giant Zoom meetings. There was one this afternoon on My Brother's Keeper, which is a national program looking particularly at African-American youth or Black American youth. And I also have been attending some leadership functions. As some of you may know, I was named the chairman of their transportation policy again for this coming year. That in NLC terms is the Transportation Infrastructure Services Committee, Policy Committee, which basically means that's the committee that writes and does the chief amount of lobbying for transportation for the following year. We write the policy and it's adopted by the overall organization, and we're in charge of trying to lobby it and implement it and gather more information to get that thing passed. So this is a big year for transportation in DC. Our every 5-year bill is overdue. It'll happen probably not by the end of this year, but in the Congress next year. And ironically, I've held this post before when we were in this exact position. So it's been almost a decade, I think, since I've been asked to do this for the league, but I'm happy to. That also puts me back on their board. So that'll be, I guess, part of my challenge for this coming year in terms of time commitments. I don't have much more to add to that, other than I've had the opportunity this past weekend to participate in a USA track and field coaches training. They call it level 1 training. It's sort of like the first substantial, after you've been a coach for a while, you can apply for this coaches training from USA Track and Field. This is like the Olympic Committee track and field organization. And they certify coaches all the way down to the middle school level, basically. And so I've coached long enough. I'm getting this training. And the side discussions, kind of like when you go to an NLC meeting or a League of Cities meeting, are really interesting. And what I found is that, our support for youth sports is really admired by people who don't know, otherwise wouldn't know anything about it. Our partnership between city and youth sports, no one of the 50 or so classmates I've got there had ever really heard of anything quite like that. So I think that is something we really need to treasure and try to grow. And in particular, developments around track and field are pretty exciting. What we've got potentially in front of us and what we're trying to do before we got COVIDed this year in terms of developing that are exciting. So my network in that area just grew quite a bit. All right. Anything else that wants to come up from council? If not, we are going to go on to Cyrus and our city manager report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a few items I wanted to point out. That first of all, I wanted to start by saying about the city hall being used as a vote center. We had offered the facility to our county elections office, and we had a very successful gathering place for our community to cast their vote and to be used as a vote center. And I really would like to thank our city team, our city clerk's team, our facilities, our reception staff who helped with this and making this experience for our voters a successful experience. We don't have yet don't have the numbers as how many people actually voted in person, but we do know that we collected 9,643 ballots at the city hall for the drop-in votes. We also, another thing that has been already mentioned, that the county moved us to the purple tier as of last Friday. And earlier today, the state also exercised or activated what they call the emergency brake. I think the official word that they used was the emergency brake, meaning that they are moving many more counties throughout the state to this more restrictive purple tier as of today. And so as of today, we have 41 counties throughout the state that are in the purple tier with new mask guidance and also with new travel advisory that has come out today. The only other two things I would like to point out is that we, unfortunately, because of the COVID and because of the health issue order, we have not been able to hold our usual Veterans Day celebration. And I want to take this opportunity to thank Cordova Community Council for installing the flags to honor our veterans and make sure that we to express our thanks and appreciation for their service and the work that they have done. But it would be wonderful to be able to do those gatherings and the honoring of our veterans in person in the future. And one of our speakers brought up the toy drive, and thank you for that. But I also want to remind everybody that in addition to the toy drive, Project 680 is collecting some hoodies. And we also know that one of our community members is also collecting some supplies for the Mather Veterans Village. It's because of this situation, the number of donations to many of our nonprofits have really gone down. So any help and support that community members can provide to these worthwhile efforts would be greatly appreciated. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Thank you very much, Cyrus. If there's nothing else on reports, we're going to move on to the consent calendar. Item number 13. Consent calendar items consist of matters deemed routine and non-controversial by staff. Unless a member of the council wishes to pull an item for individual consideration, all items will be approved by one motion. So, of these items, 13.1 to 13.8, does any member of the council wish to pull an item for separate discussion? Seeing none, I'm open to a motion.
Seeing none, I'll move approval of items 13.1 through 13.8.
Second. Very good. Is there a second? Motion by Budge, second by McGarvey. Roll call, please.
Councilmember McGarvey.
Aye.
Councilmember Budge.
Yes.
Councilmember Terry.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gatewood.
Yes.
Mayor Sander.
Aye. Okay, that brings us to consent public hearing items, number 14, of which there are none, which brings us to public hearing items, item 15.1. And this is a public review of the draft 2021-2029 housing element update. And I think we probably have a nice staff report on this topic.
We sure do. So good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Stefan Heisler, Housing Manager for the City of Rancho Cordova. We have a couple other presenters joining us for this item, so I don't see them yet. So while we're waiting, and while we're waiting for the PowerPoint to come up as well, I'll just kind of give a rehash of where we are and where we're going next. So this is the presentation of the draft, the public review draft housing element for the 2021 to 2029 cycle. This is the next step in the process. So was it 2 months ago, we brought to you the discussion around the regional housing needs allocation sites inventory and some draft preliminary updates to our housing programs and actions. Tonight, again, we will be sharing with you the few updates that we have had since that last council meeting on our program actions as we continue to digest the new state housing laws as well. So this evening, we will be asking for direction, not a resolution vote, but just general direction to submit the public review draft to the Department of Housing and Community Development. This is the public review draft, so it is open for public review and comments. It will continue to be open until the end of the HCD public review period, which is 60 days. And we'll be bringing this up for further discussion during this presentation. And if we have Cynthia joining us on the panel.
I'm here.
Great, so Cynthia Walsh is with us from PlaceWorks, and she'll be the main presenter for this evening. Also here from PlaceWorks is Jennifer Gastelum. Go ahead, Cynthia, I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks everyone. So like Stefan said, I'm Cynthia Walsh with PlaceWorks, and we are back this evening to provide an overview of the housing element update process thus far and to discuss our next steps. So the agenda tonight. So we're going to do a quick overview of the housing element. I know most of you are pretty familiar with it at this point, and touch on the regional housing needs allocation and the sites inventory. We're going to go through the public input that we've received. We're going to touch on the housing element actions, new, modified, and continued. We'll take a look at the housing element schedule, and then we'll move on to the discussion. So housing element overview. To give you a short overview, the housing element is a required element of the general plan. It must be reviewed and certified by the State Housing and Community Development Department, or HCD. The housing element is due to the state May 15th, 2021. The housing element looks at existing and projected housing needs, and it must include a plan for accommodating the city's regional housing needs allocation. So the draft housing element is composed of several different sections. It includes an evaluation of the previous housing element and the implementation status for each action. It includes the new goals to move forward with for this new action plan, goals, policies, and we are looking to comply with state law. Public participation is a big part of this update process, and it's something that happens throughout the entire process from beginning to adoption. We also evaluate existing and projected needs, and we look at special housing needs groups, such as persons on the verge of homelessness, homeless persons with disabilities, seniors, things like that. Groups like that, I should say. We also evaluate existing and projected housing needs, and we look at the future housing need and the land inventory, as well as analyzing any government or non-governmental constraints. So the regional housing needs allocation. So this is really the driving factor of the housing element. The state hands down an allocation to SACOG, or Sacramento Area Council of Governments. Then SACOG allocates that to each jurisdiction in the region. Rancho Cordova was allocated 9,067 units to plan for over the 8-year time frame, which is 2021 to 2029. So as a part of the housing element update, we identify sites to accommodate the city's RHNA. This table provides a summary of the city's capacity, site inventory capacity, compared to the RHNA allocation. So as a reminder, it's not the city's responsibility to build these units, but to provide available sites and incentives to assist in the development of them. So looking at this table, we are relying on vacant infill, underutilized infill. Underutilized is going to be a site that is not using its full potential, I could say. We're also looking at greenfield sites, and then we're projecting out ADUs. Again, this is over an 8-year time frame. So you can see that we have a surplus in each of our categories, 478 unit surplus for our low and very low category, also termed as lower. Moderate, we have 274 units, and our above moderate is 262. So our total surplus is 1,014 units. So this provides a map of all of the sites. You can see the greenfield sites are shown in a tealish color, underutilized are pretty little, but they are more of a yellow-orange color, and then our vacant are pink. This zooms in a little bit more on our infill sites, both underutilized and vacant. And then this one provides our greenfield sites, and it points out the specific areas, the approximate location of where those higher density projects may occur. So like I mentioned, public outreach is a key component to this update process. We held a virtual workshop back in August. At this, we presented an overview of the housing element, provided some background, and then looked to gain feedback and input while we were preparing the draft. We did have many stakeholders who attended the meeting, so that was great. Some of the input that we did receive was regarding encouraging senior housing with ADUs, as well as addressing the ever-changing needs of special needs groups, looking at no net loss ideas, addressing racial equity and fair housing issues, and looking at infill development, as well as innovative financing ideas for affordable housing. We also completed one-on-one stakeholder consultations as a part of our process. This is a way to get direct feedback on the needs of the community for special needs groups that otherwise may not be represented. We reached out to several agencies, and we were able to speak with Mutual Housing, Cordova Community Council, Resources for Independent Living, and North State Building Industry Association. So as a part of the stakeholder consultations, the feedback that we received was the need for developer support to develop new affordable housing, concerns about costs to renovate existing buildings to create new affordable housing. It was pointed out that the fees and regulations are a major hurdle to affordable housing, as well as a few other items that we have listed here. So as most of you are aware, we had a city council meeting back on September 21st. This was a review of the sites inventory and the policies and action items. Some of the input that we received was regarding possible changes to sites included in our sites inventory, specifically C1 and J1. Also lowering the development impact fee, and to consider a new TOD policy to address barriers to affordable housing. We also received additional comments regarding Site C1, addressing high crime areas as growth continues. There were concerns about addressing the 6th cycle RHNA since the 5th cycle RHNA was not moved along that far. And there was interest in seeing the parcel-specific inventory, which is included in the public review draft, so that will be available for review. So looking at new actions, so we have, as we go through this process, we take a look at what the city currently has. We modify programs that need to be updated as far as timelines, slight wording modification. We look at complying with new state law, and then we look at programs that are no longer feasible or make sense for the city to move forward with. So as a part of this update, we are addressing state law through the following programs. So we are updating the density bonus law to comply with current law. State law, we are going to comply with state law regarding ADUs and junior ADUs. Allow for low barrier navigation centers, and these are service-enriched shelters that are focused on moving people into permanent housing. We also have a program, or an action item, pardon me, to establish a written policy to streamline the approval process. And we do have one new policy to comply with AB 1397. This is applicable to sites that have been included in the 2 previous housing element cycles. And it states that if a project was to come forward with a 20% affordability component, that it must be permitted by right. There is one additional program that I'm going to hand over to Stefan real quick just to talk about regarding emergency shelters.
That's on this slide, Cynthia. We're almost there.
Oh, sorry.
So I'll just speak to that really quickly. So I believe it is action item H.3.3.3. This is kind of an action item carrying over from the current housing element cycle. So state law actually put into place about 8 years ago required cities to allow for emergency shelters to be a permitted use in at least one zone in their jurisdiction. So back in 2013, we adopted the housing element to action item to do that. And in 2014, as far as we can tell, we made an attempt at that, but our investigation kind of went cold, and it doesn't seem to have ever gone to council for approval. So that is an action item that we will urgently need to consider and complete before we adopt this housing element in April or May of next year. And so just FYI, we will be bringing this item, emergency shelter item, to council, probably looking at a December timeframe, and then completing that early next year to maintain compliance with our housing element.
Great, thank you. You can also see on this slide the additional actions that did have minor edits or updates to them. So affordable housing production, emergency repair program, volunteer program, affordable housing monitoring plan, conditional use permit for RENA, housing for disabled persons, homeless services, as Stefan mentioned, fair housing plan, local housing foundation, and state and federal funding. So looking at the project schedule, we started this process back in May, and then we moved forward in June to our draft preparation and stakeholder consultations. We had our community workshop in August, city council meeting in September, and then now we are in November with the public review draft, which is ready, available, and we have our hearing this evening, and then we will start our environmental process. There is one slight modification to this schedule, and we would recommend releasing the draft for a minimum of 2 weeks before we do submit the document to HCD, just to continue the public participation process there. So once we submit the document to HCD, we will work with them. They do have a 60-day review period. Towards the end of that review period, we will get on the phone with them and address any possible concerns or questions that they have. Then we will bring this document back to you prior to May 15th, which is the SACOG deadline for housing elements. So as Stefan mentioned, our action this evening is just for council to direct staff to submit the document to HCD for that 60-day review period.
And at this point, I think we'll turn it over for any council discussion, public comment, and questions for staff.
I have a question and a comment. I'm struggling with the view thing here. The question, Stefan, please define low barrier navigation center.
I'll have to defer that one to Cynthia.
Yeah, so that is a service-enriched shelter, which is kind of your step before you're in permanent housing. So it's just it's not a homeless shelter, but it's not a permanent housing. It's kind of that in between.
Okay. And I have a request to delete site L1, L2, and L3. There's not the infrastructure there. It's too close to the overflight zone, and it's it's too large for the area in which it is planned, and it is business professional in the Stone Creek specific plan.
Thank you, Linda. Any additional comments, questions?
Yeah, I have a couple. I don't know if anybody else wants to go. I wanted, what are the numbers that you're saying to exclude, Linda? I don't have the map in front of me.
So I'll pull it up.
And are we talking the greenfield sites that you were just pointing out? Or
No. It's across the street from the,
Which map are you talking about? Wait, what map are you looking at?
It's across the street from the National Guard building. Adjacent to Elliott's new townhouses and across the street from the National Guard building. And I can't get back to the meeting.
Are you, so we're talking about the blue, in this map, you're talking about the blue area there that's greenfield.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it's no.
Sorry, Linda, we labeled them as greenfield on the infill sites map.
The map I'm looking at that's up right now, you're talking about the blue stuff, right? That's what I'm just trying to understand.
You know, I am.
Linda, are you looking at the infill sites map?
I don't know what button I hit, but I am totally locked. I've got a thumbnail sketch in the top right that's the map that you're looking at, and I can see that there's a giant blue. It's right off the end of the runway.
Yeah, we're talking about the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to understand what.
It's in the overflight zone, and I would ask everybody to remember that we had to fight Caltrans Aeronautics tooth and nail for 2 years in order to get Navigator approved, and I can't imagine them approving dense housing on all of that site that close to the overflight zone.
Yeah, I would say why delete it until we know that they won't allow it. I mean, if somebody wants to go through the headache of trying to
it doesn't belong there. There is no infrastructure. There's no infrastructure to support that enormous piece of ground.
So my first comment was we all received a letter from the Housing Alliance talking about timelines here. Stefan, did you see this?
Yes. Yep. So part of that response is I think we're recommending at least a 2-week period after this meeting before we would submit to HCD.
Well, why not just go by? I mean, their timelines here basically say that we should be taking longer than that. Why? Have we not complied with this already?
So there's a recommendation from HCD. I don't believe it is a requirement. I think on the back end, if we extend out 45 days, we'll be looking at a tighter time frame in April and May to approve the final housing element.
But what's the rush? I mean,
well, so after this, we'll be submitting to HCD for their 60-day review. We'll be completing environmental during that time, and then we'll be putting together after that the final version. And if we want to put in some buffer period, just in case we need to come back to you a couple times for the final housing element, we don't want to be in a rush to do that. Yeah, but we could extend as much as 30 days without being in too much of a hurry.
To have anything?
Okay, because I mean, well, never mind. Yeah, you're right. They're not saying that it's by law. They're just asking for additional time to do additional. And I mean, considering we're talking COVID times and everything like that, trying to make sure that we get out to our community and actually, we've had a couple of decent comments sent in about it. But, I would be very interested in trying to get more public input into this. I think, there's a resident of Lincoln Village that I think submitted some comments, very specific comments about sites in Lincoln Village that I think it bears looking into, especially one claiming that the lot next to Carver High was at some point zoned residential, which I do not believe is accurate, but I could be wrong. So as far as I know, when Carver High got built, they had to get it rezoned from industrial to even allow to put the school there. So I thought all of that was industrial, yet we're having residents ask to get that zoned into arena,
Yeah,
which it's not right
correct.
now. Yeah, so which I emailed the commenter about it, because if that was ever zoned residential, that's news to me, but it would be an interesting discussion considering when I was on the school board, we had to pay $600,000 to put a sound wall to keep the sound away from the adjoining parcels. So that's an interesting comment. I'd like to see if we could accommodate more time to draw in more comments to this plan. I have strong reservations about removing anything from the plan, even though we have surpluses, because when you take them out of the plan, then you're pretty much taking them out of the chance of being able to land your multifamily and affordable, at those sites. So I would, I think we should always be continuing to look for additional places. I think I agree with Linda. That's a very large parcel comparatively to the other sites that we're looking at, down there in Zinfandel Village. But to just say we're going to take that whole thing out, I would be very uncomfortable with something that large without additional parcels and sites being identified for it. Because we know we're looking at mobile. I mean, one that we've had lots of public comments on, in the recent past, and I don't want to get too far into that because then Dave's got to recuse himself. But we've got a project that keeps coming to light here that is being proposed to be taken completely out of that. And so as we look at these, this is exactly what cities across California struggle with, is they come up with these arena plans, and it's just a plan. But as soon as you take it out, it's no longer something that's really going to be planned for. So I say leave as many of these things in there as we can.
I don't support it. I won't vote for it.
Okay, it doesn't take 5 people to approve it either.
I will say, in the framing of this, I'll say what staff didn't say, and that is the numbers on us in particular in Rancho Cordova are far better or easier or more attainable than they have been in the past, given our size and development status. I think the analysis that was done this year at SACOG and the way the region approached it was a lot more equitable in terms of how these decisions were made and where the recommendations came out. So I actually, for once, and I know Linda has expressed great angst with me about this before in its previous iteration, it was very challenging trying to find enough sites and deal with it. And some other jurisdictions, frankly, that for several iterations now, several cycles of this, have escaped any meaningful contribution to affordable housing, now have an obligation to do far more. So I'm generally pleased by this and kind of sitting here in relief compared to what it's looked like before.
And David is correct, because we have 45%, no, wait a minute. There's a chart in here somewhere that shows that our moderate requirement is significantly higher, simply because we have such a large inventory already of things that are technically affordable. Yeah, 44% of our whole RENA requirement is above moderate income, and 19% is moderate income. So that's well over 50% is moderate or above moderate.
Yeah, I think it's probably fair to say I can't reference the old numbers, but just in a qualitative way, Bob, Linda, and I, when we first saw this a long time ago, the philosophy appeared to be wherever the most inexpensive housing was, that's where all the affordable housing ought to go. So basically, it was a regional policy for concentrated poverty, which is not should not be anyone's idea of a good idea.
Absolutely.
And we've come a long way from that, and that frankly was just an engineered way for certain jurisdictions not to deal with it.
Yep.
I'm just kind of curious about that green field, though, right there toward the end of the runway. I mean, they stopped the Kaiser from building a hospital because of the flight patterns when Mather was still on Air Force Base, but that flight pattern right here for the runway is so close to that property, I'm surprised they do anything, even industry, much less residential.
That's why it only works for the National Guard, because they can go out their back door and onto the flight line. And they're across the street.
Well,
all right. Any other comments about it? We're obviously going to have a little time to kick this around.
Yeah, I would suggest we at least make the public comment period an additional 30 days. I see no harm in that. And ultimately, like David said, you know, we don't have the kind of goals that we've had in the past. So take the time and see if, you know, if people have other ideas on sites. I mean, we got some comments from, you know, residents here suggesting, you know, sites within their neighborhood that would make sense, that maybe we can research a little more.
And I agree with that. There's no reason to push this off to HCD.
Yeah.
Mayor Sander, this is Stacy Leitner. I've stepped out of the room for just a moment, so I don't know if you've already taken public comment, but I do have 2 written emails and 2 in Zoom.
And 2 in person? In Zoom? Okay, good. Let's take, at this point, let's take public comment then.
Okay, thank you.
Then Mayor, could I, this is
Adam?
Thank you. This is the city attorney. Just a brief comment in response to the last council exchange. And Stefan, you might well want to weigh in here. One of the pieces of correspondence you received was a letter asking for the kind of additional opportunity for public participation after the draft is ready to go to HCD that may have just been under discussion. Stefan and I understood the comment in the presentation by you and the consultant regarding the 2-week additional time period to be a perhaps partial response to that kind of sentiment. Is that a correct inference to draw?
Yes, that's correct.
So if I could just comment on that just a little bit further. The letter points to a section that says that the city has to include diligent efforts by the local government to achieve public participation. And it doesn't specifically require that participation can and needs to only be limited to the period after we produce a full draft ready to be dropped in the mail or emailed to HCD. Is that your reading as well, Stefan?
Correct.
So we are relying to some extent upon the numerous opportunities and outreach efforts that we've already made to the public to satisfy not just the letter, but also the intent of that in other sections. The other thing that I might point out is there are a number of significant changes that have been made to HCD to the laws on housing elements since the last housing element cycle. And HCD has given us a good amount of guidance, but not exhaustive guidance on how they want public agencies to respond to all of those. And so in some cases, staff have taken what is, I think, a reasonable approach of suggesting, I believe, that your prior policy direction be interfered with only to the extent that they think compliance will be necessary. But it may well be, and I think that it's important that we all set the bar, that HCD will ask for more or different things. That you're not trying to get this perfect. You're trying to participate in an exchange, in a dialogue, in a body of work with HCD. So what that means in part is that we want to be sure we have adequate time on the back end that we protect, because it's quite possible that they'll have meaningful things to comment on. Stefan, would you say that in additional or different words?
No, I appreciate you enlarging on that. I think we absolutely do expect HCD to come back with comments. So we'll be, and during this 60-day review process, it is iterative and interactive. So there will be some back and forth between staff and HCD during that time. And any major meaningful or policy changes would be brought to the City Council before the final adoption.
But Stefan, are you comfortable that if we were to accommodate the additional requested time that was just offered by one council member, that there would still be plenty of time on the back end to respond to HCD's potentially more significant comments?
I believe so. Yeah, I think if we give it another 30 days, I think we can meet our deadlines. Hopefully we won't need any urgent sessions, but I don't expect that we will.
Thank you. I hope that was helpful.
Right. Public comment?
So we have what looks like 5 so far for this item. So 2 were related to email communications that the council, the city attorney's office, and the city manager has received. Copies have also been printed for those who are in the council chambers. One is from Kendra Lewis, Executive Director of the Sacramento Housing Alliance. Also on that letter is Kathy Cresswell, Board President of the Sacramento Housing Alliance, and that's related to this item. The second email communication was sent in by Faiza Mughal. That was also sent to the City Council. And then we have a couple in Zoom who have held their hands up for quite some time. So thank you thank you for your patience. The first one looks like Ijiro. So I'm gonna start with this one, and I'm gonna unmute you, and you'll have 3 minutes under public comment to speak.
All right. Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, go right ahead.
Good evening, everyone. It was quite lovely hearing your council meeting, your opening prayer, and your birthday celebrations were nice to hear.
That's very generous on the birthday celebration.
Just wanted to share that. So again, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to address the council verbally. My name is Adro, the policy director for the Sacramento Housing Alliance. And so I also want to just, I'm glad that you guys all received our email correspondence that Kendra, our executive director, and Kathy Cresswell, our board president, submitted earlier today. This is also just to follow up, just kind of reiterating some of those statements. We're writing, again, just a request that you circulate the 2021 draft element to the public prior for 45 days to allow adequate notice to stakeholders before submitting to HCD. This particular, having this time frame will allow us to just partner with you and to just help the community to be able to adequately participate in something that the community is really engaged about, is making sure we have enough affordable housing and adequate sites. While we understand the need for early submission to expedite the process on the back end, receiving public participation before submission to HCD ensures the public voice before specific elements are finalized. So having that 2 weeks, we appreciate that extra time, but we are requesting for 45 days adequate notice to stakeholders. That way we can actively engage in the process and just have a more equitable result. And thank you for your time.
All right, thank you very much.
Our next caller is calling in by phone. I don't have a name, but I am going to unmute you and allow you to speak. You'll have 3 minutes. And if you could please identify yourself, that would be helpful for all of us.
Hi, I'm just going to read the letter that I submitted into the record. This is Faiza Mughal from Lincoln Village. I've reviewed the current housing plan, and I'm disappointed with one of the identified infill sites selected for Lincoln Village. The site in question is the vacant lot behind Korean Oz, the former Howard Johnson's. Back in September, being one of a handful of residents that showed up to the housing outreach session, I provided feedback to Mr. Heisler for an opportunity site within my community, but it wasn't brought forward during the presentation to council. The site I recommended, the vacant lot between the gun club and Carver, is formerly zoned for residential, and this was like way back, this pre-2008 when it was zoned that way. It's surrounded by dream infrastructure for dense housing, like 2 bus stops on each side of the street that connect to light rail stations, a pedestrian-controlled red light that will stop all traffic at the push of a button, providing a safe crossing for all ages and abilities. It has the city's first Class 4 bike lane, plus the Mather Heritage Trail close by, and the site is surrounded by the kind of amenities that families would benefit from. A park and senior center right across the street, 3 schools within a half-a-mile radius, 2 more schools that are assigned to us that are in Rosemont, but all 5 of these school sites are accessible via those existing bus stops I mentioned. It has convenient proximity to recreational opportunities and family programming like you'd find at the Mather Sports Complex, the American River Parkway, the Rancho Cordova Public Library, the MAC, even the upcoming Civic Center. During the September presentation, Councilmember Budge mentioned this opportunity site as having potential, and she also brought up that empty lot just a couple blocks away on the corner of Rudier and Old Placerville Road. Today, I'm disappointed to see that the future Lincoln Village opportunity sites on your housing map do not include the sites mentioned by myself or Councilmember Budge. Instead, I see parcels like the land behind Food for Less, land that's already slated for the Bradshaw Village Housing Complex. It's a done deal. It's not something new. I also see listed as an opportunity site the Howard Johnson's location. That Howard Johnson site, unlike the site near Carver, will be within easy walking distance of not 1 but 2 liquor and tobacco points of sale. It will be neighbor to Flame of Fire Ministry, and you know why that's problematic. It'll be a stone's throw away from the intersection of Lincoln Village Drive at Bradshaw Road. It gets heavy traffic there, and we get wild drivers coming through. It's not family friendly. Though this location falls within easy walking distance of Food for Less, the walk to the shopping center has dangerous conflict zones for pedestrians. The existing bike lane to and from the shopping, besides being too narrow, runs adjacent to traffic that moves faster than 45 miles per hour. Some of that traffic is commercial, and the vehicles frequently encroach in the bike lane. I'm able to point out these safety and quality of life issues to you because this is where I live. These are my lived experiences at that location. This lot that we're discussing is a nuisance property, and we'd love to see it developed, but the families that will live there deserve a healthier space with beneficial amenities and functional, safe infrastructure. So please remove the Howard Johnson's location as an option for family housing. Take a closer look at that lot next to Carver and the park, as well as that lot on the corner of Old Placerville and Rudier. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for the comment. Let's see, do we have any other public comment lined up?
I have one more, and that's Helen, Whalen, Bashaw.
Hi, I'm Helen Whalen Bashaw. I live in Tierra Grande Circle. I am really opposed to adding more housing around a flight line. If anybody remembers back, I think it was 1983, when the aircraft went down from Mather and happened to go into a field where there were horses. When you start putting housing near a runway, you're really asking for trouble. You'll have a remake of what happened at the Executive Airport years ago with the ice cream store there. I think when you start talking about putting the lower end housing near a runway, why not put the high end housing near the runway? It doesn't make any sense. And we seem to pick some of the areas that are not desirable to put the lower income housing there. I think as a whole, it's a dangerous situation. We don't have as many aircraft coming in and out of that flight line that we did when it was an active base, but you still have aircraft. Aircraft have mechanical difficulties. Aircraft sometimes have to drop fuel. Aircraft sometimes drop parts like tires and things like that. I think anything close to the runway is absurd. Thank you.
Thank you, Helen. Stacy, I thought it was funny how you said people had their hands up a long time. What first came to mind was, boy, their arms must be tired. And then I remembered, this is the age of COVID and Zoom. Their arms are probably not tired unless they're sitting at home like this. Stefan, do you have any response to the public comment we just heard? Any thoughts come to mind?
So we have looked at that site, that industrial zone site next to Carver Elementary. We do have a project under review, an industrial project under review for that site. So I know, we have sites that are already included that could potentially have development projects come in on those. I think we're a little bit more hesitant to remove a site that's already currently identified, even though it may have a project coming soon, as opposed to adding a new site that may have a project coming soon.
So the thought is, until something is actually built over it, if it's on our plan, we'd like to keep it there.
Correct.
Okay, unless we make an argument that a given site is simply just not a good choice for multifamily housing.
Correct. I think the biggest barrier there is really the rezone, which could be done over the next 12 months. But there is, if there's a project under review already, that would make a rezone. We'd have to wait until that.
Yeah. So in order to include that site, we'd have to rezone it. That would obviously take time. There may be opposition from the owner. That sort of thing is possible, I suppose, right?
Very possible.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I think
Can,
we have. Thanks.
can I ask a quick question about that exact?
Go ahead, Donald.
Can somebody confirm if that in fact was like what the history was, and was that actually zoned residential? Because when I was on the school board, that site we had to pay $600,000 to build a sound wall because the adjoining owner sued the school district, and I want to say maybe the city too, for rezoning to allow the school to be built because the adjoining owner wanted all of that to stay industrial and commercial. So I would be very interested in understanding the history and why, if ever that was residential and it was rezoned to industrial, because I know the adjoining owner, the owner next door, and then owns this parcel, never wanted that school to ever be. And I'd be very surprised to understand if that was actually zoned residential, during cityhood at any point.
Guys, to my knowledge, that everything along Systems Parkway was zoned industrial office, either industrial office park or light one, from the point in the early 80s when it was first mapped.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just be really interested in whenever this comes back, if there could be some additional background, because if that was ever zoned residential, that's totally news to me, and I would really be interested in just what the history was of that.
I can't remember it in detail. I do know that the city council had to take action to allow the high school to be built there.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It opened when I was on the school board, but it had been planned prior. So you guys probably took action in 2004.
And it was probably a zoning change.
Yeah, no, there had to be one, and I'm not going to name names, but the company that owns the land next to it and the other parcels around there, I believe sued and won and forced the school district to spend $600,000 of our school bond money on building that sound wall to mitigate the sound from the high school.
Yeah, because normally, Donald, it would have been the other way around. When something industrial went in there or commercial went in there, they would have had to put up the wall. So you're right.
Yep. No,
I have a map. I have a map in storage.
Yeah, that was the last allocation of school bond money, and we had to put off doing like gyms and some other like HVAC stuff in other places in the district. And I remember in my trustee area, I was really frustrated that we were going to have to spend like $600,000 on a sound wall, and we were forced to do it. And that came out of other projects that we could have done in my trustee area. And just understanding the history behind all of it, that like the owners surrounding that school were not a fan of that school being there. Let's put it that way.
Well, I appreciate the neighborhood level feedback we got, though. That's very, very valuable. And for that reason, I hope we can extend the public comment here, gather a little more.
Yeah, good idea.
Anything else on this item? Stephanie, anything else you need?
No, I think just to confirm, we will leave it open for 30 days before we submit to HCD.
Okay. Without objection, let's do that.
Great.
So, we just move to direct staff to do that then?
Yes.
Okay, that's a motion.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
Great. Budge and McGarvey, roll call, please.
Councilmember McGarvey?
Aye.
Councilmember Budge?
Yes.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Gatewood?
Yes.
Mayor Sander?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, that brings us to regular calendar items, of which there are none. Item 17, council request for future agenda items.
David, I have a request for us to take up an item that is of an emergency nature that was presented to us earlier tonight, and nobody knew anything about it until this afternoon. And I would like to ask that we consider signing on to the Chamber of Commerce's letter to request that the Board of Supervisors not approve this onerous fine system for the small business community. So the first motion would be that we take it up because it's of an emergency nature that just came to light.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I have some pressing.
City attorney weigh in on that?
Well, Mr. Mayor, I have, if I may, I have some new information that may address the concern. I just received an email that the County Board of Supervisors has decided to postpone this topic to their December 8th meeting. So it's not an urgency matter at this point.
Then I withdraw my motion.
Or you leave it in place for a future discussion, assuming they bring it up.
I will ask that it be on our agenda of December the 7th.
I would share that interest. Any other council members share that interest?
Yes, 100%.
Okay. Yes. Any other future agenda items?
I talked a little bit with David about this, but I'd like to bring a roundtable of business owners together to really talk about what we can do to help them out in this time of COVID, and where we can stick our finger in their eye and where we can actually get along and not make it just a complaint session, but where we can actually, come up with ideas. I mean, we have people like the fire marshal shutting nail salons down because their tarps are flammable. We have electrical issues of people trying to run the power out so they can keep their restaurants open. There's a lot of things that we need to get in front of.
So we could certainly have a schedule, another like COVID impact discussion for the city council in the near term. I think, Garrett, what we should probably do is have that call a Zoom meeting in conjunction with our chamber and some people who have been negatively affected by COVID on the business side, and frankly, some people who have dealt with it a little bit. Bring those two sides together and let them talk to each other, and then listen very carefully to figure out what we can do in that mix to facilitate or assist people get around or over the barriers they're facing as business people. That makes a ton of sense to me.
I agree. And then is Diane here?
That doesn't have to be an official city council act. That's a economic development thing. But having it come back to us and talk about, for example, what do we do about electrical permits in these cases? That might rise to a city council action. I don't know.
Okay.
Because I think we got to find ways to expedite, business surviving. The last thing I want to have happen is for a process at City Hall to delay someone's implementation to get to a status where they can continue to do business. That would be extremely painful and unfortunate.
Yeah, to me, this sounds more like a subcommittee in working with staff and maybe a handful of community groups to try to handle, trying to find good ideas to fund or to work on.
Yep.
That may be more nimble than saying, let's wait for and have a city council meeting.
That's a good way of thinking about it.
Or a city workshop. I would say.
So, in that sense, Garrett, would you like to join me on that, and the two of us can pursue that?
Yeah, let's go.
Without
do
objection
this.
from the other two?
I'm down. Let's do it. Let's see what we can do to help our business owners.
All right.
Good idea.
And we talked to Cyrus about it this morning at the mayor vice mayor meeting, so we're somewhat aware. Any other future agenda items?
No, I just want to say I agree with you, but anything you can do to help businesses is something this council could have a reputation of being helpful to the businesses, because they have been all of our 17 years, and it's no reason to stop right now.
Well said. All right. With that, I guess we're going to move on to adjournment. It's a relatively a quick meeting tonight. We are going to adjourn tonight in memory of Ernie Sheldon, who has been he served as mayor of Folsom. Is that right? Was Ernie a mayor?
I don't think so.
Not mayor, but vice mayor.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
But more importantly, I'll tell a little Ernie story. So probably 8 years ago, when we were setting up the Rancho Cordova Athletic Association, RCAA, we went to Ernie because he was chair of the Folsom Athletic Association, FAA, and they had a lot of success promoting youth sports in their community and at their high schools now. And we went to Ernie and said, Ernie, can you help us organize ourselves? Talk to us about how it works in Folsom. And he did a yeoman's work in helping us organize ourselves. Bylaws, constitution, practical tips, how to interact with the school district, how to interact with your city, all kinds of very practical, great advice. Always very welcoming and outgoing and trying to help us with it. Funny while he did it. And the greatest irony of all was, in the end, we asked him, well, where did you get this idea? And he said, oh, easy. Rancho Cordova, 1985. That's where the idea came.
That's good.
He said, all we did in Folsom was copy what you guys were doing down there when your sports programs were blowing the roof off of every building you were in. And we evolved a little bit since then, and now we're handing it back. It was a pretty funny situation. But Ernie was a really great guy, an Air Force veteran, I think, and his heart was huge for his community, and it showed. You could not walk away from an interaction without feeling that.
You're absolutely right. He had a long career in the Air Force. Maybe he was stationed at Mather. I think
he may have been. Yeah.
But if he was watching Rancho Cordova sports, he probably was.
Exactly. That's probably where he stole it. And he dedicated his life to kids after he retired. It was amazing.
Yeah.
So that's a real loss for Folsom.
It is. It really is.
So if there are any other comments, I'm open to those. If not, we are going to adjourn tonight in memory of Ernie Sheldon, our colleague on the City Council of Folsom, an Air Force veteran and a true friend of kids and youth sports.
Yes.
Thank you all very much. We are adjourned.
Thank you.